Welcome to the Happy Guitarist Podcast Ep3. I'm Clare from Clare's Guitar Lessons, and thank you for being here, and thank you patrons for all of your support. It really means a lot. This podcast is all about where to go next on your guitar playing. So you might have learned how to play the chords E, A, D, G, C. You might also learn how to play E minor and A minor. And you're feeling comfortable with these chords, you've played some songs with them, and you feel like, you're really happy with what you're doing there. And first, I just want to say congratulations, because it is not easy to learn how to play these chords. It takes hours, days, weeks, months of practice to learn these different chord shapes. So well done for sticking at it and getting this far on your guitar journey. You're doing really well. It takes so much time to learn the different shapes. Each chord shape is different. So for example, if we're looking at the chords C, A, G, E, and D, every single one of those shapes is completely different. And that's one of the reasons I think it's so hard when we're starting to play guitar and we're learning these chords to get them committed to memory, because we have to learn a completely new shape for all of these chords. So it's not easy to do, and you've done really well. And you might be thinking, where do I go next? Well, generally, I like to point people in the direction of, let's have a look at the F chord, because some people go, the F chord, that might be put off by it. And this is perfectly normal. I was playing the same 5 or 6 chords for many years before I branched out and decided I wanted to try a different chord, such as F. And I think my main motivation for learning F was it was in a song that I really wanted to play. So I was determined to play the F chord. And you might be put off at first because it's taught as a bar chord first and foremost, so you're playing all of the 6 strings. And you might think, oh God, I can't get my fingers around that. And that's okay. You can play F just using 4 strings like that. So at the end of this post, I'm going to put a link to a video that I made, an easier way to play the F chord. And if you're really struggling, like I did in the beginning, to play the bar chord shape, please don't worry about that. And maybe try just looking at playing F as a nice 4-string chord. And to do that, you take your first finger and you put it on the first fret of the high E string and the high B string. And if you've not played this yet on guitar, I want you to give it a try, because it's really good fun, because you're getting to play these 2 strings together, the 2 high strings. And it's also really good practice to get that first finger used to playing the strings together by going flat onto the fretboard, so that you get that nice clear, you can hear them nice and clearly. And once you've done that and you're comfortable with that, the next note to play on this F chord is the A note, which is the 2nd fret on the G string. And you play that with your 2nd finger. So we're getting somewhere now with this F chord. We've already got 3 of the notes here. We've got the F, C, and A. So we are there. You could just play that if you wanted. And that's a really nice shape to get used to playing on the guitar. Using that first finger on those on the first fret of those high strings, and then bringing that 2nd finger up on the next fret up, on the 2nd fret there. It's a beautiful shape to get to know on the guitar. So please give that a go. And then when you're happy with that, bring that F note in on the 3rd fret of the D string. Now this is where there's a bit of a stretch, and it's a bit similar to when you're playing the C chord, because you're stretching that 3rd finger across over there onto the 3rd fret of the D string. And it might be a little bit tricky at first for you to do that. So please don't worry about that and keep practicing the shape, and you will get there. I think one of the things that makes this shape a little bit tricky is bringing that third finger up there, and you need to arch it over a little bit, arch it up away from the fretboard so it's not touching any of the other strings, it's not blocking the other strings, and you're getting that nice clean sound. So it's a bit of a stretch. It requires, quite a little bit of tension in your chord hand there. So that is a nice way that you can play F on guitar. Now, another chord I want to show you, which won't always fit with some songs, but it might fit with some, is the F major 7 chord. And it's very similar to the chord we've just been playing there, in that our third finger is on the 3rd fret of the D string, our second finger is on the 2nd fret of the G string, and our first finger is on the 1st fret of the B string. But this time there's a little bit of a twist in it, and we're playing the open E string there underneath, and it gives it a kind of dreamy sound. So that chord there is F major 7, and again I'll put a link to the video that I made on how to play this chord at the end of this post on the podcast. You can have a look at that if you want, and it shows you the fingering and it shows you how to play that chord. Now, it's not always going to fit with some songs, so you might be thinking, I can just use that F major 7 chord instead of the F chord. And if you give it a play, you'll notice on some songs or some pieces of music, it won't always work. It might sound a bit off. So that's when you would need to bring in that F note there instead of the E note to make it F major. Okay, so once you've cracked F, well done. It's an absolutely brilliant chord to play on guitar. I love it. It's one of my favourite chords, and I think the reason is you get to play all of the 6 strings like you do with the E chord, the lovely big open baggy E chord down here. And that's one of the best chords to play on guitar because you get to play all the 6 strings. It can be really loud. But when we play F, we are pressing down on all of those strings. And as a chord as well, it's also 1 semitone higher than E. So it's a little bit higher. So I think it has a bit more punch to it, has a bit more power when we're playing F. And now the next chord I want to show you, if you don't already know how to play it, this is a really good one to learn, is the D minor chord. And D minor works really nicely with F because it's the relative minor. And to play D minor, it's like the D chord, you're only getting to play 4 strings. So you've got that open D string, and then you've got your second finger on the 2nd fret of the G string underneath that, and then your third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. But this time, instead of having our 2nd fret pressed on the E string where we play D major, we're sliding that down a semitone to the F note so that you've got your first finger on the 1st fret of the E string. And that's D minor. So D minor works really well with F. So if you're playing a song in the key of F, for example, chances are it might have a D minor in it. And they work hand in hand, they work side by side. They're beautiful chords to play along with each other because D minor is the relative minor of F. So they are very closely related in the same way that C and A minor are closely related. You might have already noticed that on your guitar playing, that when you're playing the chord C and then you play an A minor, they just sound so nice together. They work. And that's because they're closely related with each other. And they sound great together. And it's the same with F and D minor. So if you're just brand new to these chords, you've not played F before and you're learning it now, and you don't know how to play D minor, I would really recommend that you learn both of these chord shapes, and then you get used to playing between them and practicing changing between them, F to D minor, and maybe throwing in a C there as well. Go back to the D minor, and then F to D minor. They're just great fun to play. So well done on your guitar playing. And something else I want to talk to you about at the moment is if you're just starting out on guitar, you've maybe been playing for, say, 6 months, and you're comfortable, you've learnt these chords, and you're doing well at it. I think, and this can be applied to any instrument that you're learning, the most important thing in the beginning is that you're playing as much as possible. Whether that's practice, or you're playing a song, or you're just noodling, you're just picking up and you're just playing and just doing stuff because you're enjoying it and you're having fun. I think that's the best thing that you can do in the beginning, because it really is about playing as much as possible, as much as you can, in lots of different settings and contexts. So you might be jamming with friends, you might be practicing for an exam, you might be learning some new chords or some new strumming patterns. And the best thing for you to do is just to keep playing. Pick it up and play. And even if it's just random notes, random chords, it doesn't matter as long as you're playing. But when it comes to learning new stuff, that's where the practice comes in. And that's where you need to sit down and practice and work these things out and spend a little bit of time on that. So please keep practicing as much as you can and enjoying your instrument. And the other thing I'm just going to briefly touch on, and I'm going to put some links to these scales at the bottom of this post as well, is that once you're comfortable playing most of these chords, it might be time to start thinking about doing some scale practice. And 2 scales that I always recommend to start with are the C major scale in the open position like that, and the E minor pentatonic scale also in the open position, so you're using some of the open strings, so it sounds like this. And then practice going back down. But also, when you're learning your scale, learn what the actual notes are that you're playing on the scale, so you know what they are. That's a big tip, and you can take that further when you start to practice scales later on and you're going up the fretboard. It's really good to start to learn what the actual notes are that you're playing, because it helps to make sense of the fretboard and where the notes are. So thank you, patrons, for all of your support. Thank you, free members, for being here and for listening to the podcast. And if anybody's got any questions, please let me know. And enjoy your practicing, enjoy your guitar playing, and I'll speak to you all soon.